be me. Late 20s grad student in a small city, final semester, brain full of theory. Studying gender and power because of course I am mom, raised me alone while my dad treated fatherhood like a hobby he got bored of. Grew up watching her fix everything alone. Bills, broken door, ancient car held together by hope. First serious boyfriend was a walking apology machine, called himself a good man every hour. But somehow, I always felt like I owed him rent. Spend years absorbing readings about patriarchy and harm. Every story makes my spine a little sharper, my patience a little thinner. Start to think, I see the pattern everywhere. Men only help when there is something in it for them. Praise, attention, a number in their phone. Then everywhere online I keep seeing the new refrain, men insisting it is dangerous now to help women, that one misunderstanding will ruin their lives. They say it with wounded pride, like heroes forced into retirement. It sounds like melodrama and self-pity wrapped in concern. Angry part of me hears cowardice dressed up as wisdom. Academic part of me smells thesis topic. Sit down to write proposal, heart doing victory laps. Title it something dramatic because I crave publication and validation, The Helpful Stranger Myth, with a very long subtitle about male fear and social responsibility. Explain that I want to examine why men claim they are too scared to intervene. Already assume the answer is ego and laziness, but write it in fancier words. Hand proposal to advisor, gray-haired guy who still prints emails he skims, smiles like I just fed his worldview a slice of cake. This is bold, he says, tapping the title. Do not soften it. Challenge them. Last part parks in my skull like a car, with no intention of leaving. Plan at first is safe and boring. Surveys and charts, respectable, forgettable. But those posts about men terrified of helping keep clawing at me. Men acting like society fitted a shock collar to their kindness and keeps pressing the button. Decide forms and graphs are not enough. I want reality under ugly lighting. Decide to turn thesis into fieldwork, which is just spying with institutional approval. Recruit team the way you recruit for any righteous mess. Complain loudly in department lounge until someone says, that should be a study. First recruit is Zara. Shaved head, heavy eyeliner, laughs like a fire alarm. She says, I want in, before I even finish swearing about men on the internet. Second is Priya, older student who worked in shelters for years, eyes like she can see through statistics. She says she wants to map male behavior in the wild, like we are tagging elk. Third is Hannah, quiet. Cardigan personified, mostly here because research assistant looks good on applications. But she is kind. We sit in campus cafe that always smells like burnt beans and leftover posters about women in science spread notebooks, like we are plotting a heist. Design 3 simple situations where any stranger might help a woman. Scenario 1. Car trouble on side street near campus. Scenario 2. Heavy groceries dropped outside a store. Scenario 3. Asking for help with directions or awkward boxes in a public space. We tell each other, this is not a sting, no accusing, no yelling, no tricks, where someone can really get hurt, just watching who steps in and how. I open laptop, name spreadsheet, something grand like field notes on gendered assistance. Add columns for approximate age, appearance, what they said, how close they stood, how long they hesitated. Zara jokes that we are finally turning do better into a table. Priya says we are quantifying indifference, like that is a normal sentence at brunch. Walk home that night, feeling like I am doing something noble, like I am building a legal case for every tired woman I have ever met. If I am honest, quiet part of me just wants proof that my anger is scientific. that my personal history is not just bad luck, but a pattern with footnotes. First field day, cold Saturday morning, breath fogging, fingers already numb around coffee cup. Hannah volunteers to be stranded. Driver, her hatchback looks like it has seen the end of the world twice. Very method. We park her on a not-quite-busy street near campus. She pops hood, stares in with expression of helpless confusion. We rehearsed in parking lot. We smudge a bit of oil on her cheek because Priya says authenticity. I take bench nearby with phone in hand, pretending to scroll, actually timing everything. Zara leans against lamppost, looking like trouble. Priya sits in her car across the road, camera propped on dashboard, stealth documentary mode. First guy passes in gym clothes, earbuds in, glances once, eyes slide off, keeps jogging. I mark ignored, no change in pace, in notes, and feel a dark satisfaction. Second, man approaches, slows, then crosses to other side entirely, looking at his watch like it called his name. Preemptive avoidance, I write, which is friendlier than what I think. Third man, mid-30s, plaid shirt, 5 o'clock shadow, stops about 3 steps away from Hannah, hands dug into jacket. Car trouble, he asks, like he already regrets it. Hannah nods, says she thinks the engine sounds wrong. He does not move closer, does not look under hood, says she should call roadside service. That modern engines are all computers now. Gives advice from safe distance and exit scene. Zara joins me with a grin. Even their help has social distancing, she mutters. Priya writes something about fear of looking incompetent in front of women. I translate that into my spreadsheet, feeling very objective, even though my brain is already holding up little victory signs. Later, a student on a bike actually leans his bicycle down and helps with tire, but turns it into a lecture on torque and proper posture, barely letting Hannah speak. She follows his instructions while he monologues like an educational video. When he rides away, Zara says he did a one-man workshop on masculinity. We all laugh, even Hannah. Day continues with more almosts, and not quite's. One older woman stops and gives Hannah her own roadside service card. She gets more warmth from us than any of the men. Next, grocery store. Zara takes this role with dramatic Glee Loads reusable bag until it weighs as much as my emotional baggage. Walks out of sliding doors, trips on absolutely nothing. Lets bag rip oranges and cans roll across pavement. Glass jar shatters like our trust. Couple walks right around her, like she is a traffic cone. I write, visual acknowledgement absent, and then cross it out for being too kind. First man who helps is mid-20s, hoodie and nervous smile. He crouches, scoops 2 items, hands them back with whoops, and gets away fast. Zara thanks him, jokes, "Relax, I will not sue you." His laughter is thin, like cling film, and his feet are already halfway across the lot. Another man stops properly, helps gather everything, asks if she is all right, then decides he has done his good deed for the year, and leaves. Priya notes both, muttering about partial engagement, like we are grading exams. My spreadsheet gains more rouse. My heart gains more smugness. Last scenario that day, plaza outside library brick planters, pigeons, too many backpacks. Priya becomes lost stranger, looking for a building that does not exist. Approaches men one by one. Map app open, voice polite. One points while walking, never slowing down. His body already past her before words land. Another actually stops, but keeps full arm distance, zooms map in and out like busy work. Third gives vague gestures, says he thinks it is that way, clearly does not care if she ever arrives. She returns to us, unimpressed. They either run away or treat me like a puzzle they do not want to solve, she says. Hannah quietly suggests that maybe some are afraid of seeming creepy or intrusive. Zara rolls eyes hard enough to generate wind. Being decent is not creepy, she replies. They are just cowards with data plans. Hannah shuts up, stares at latte foam. I do not defend her because I prefer the version of reality where my hypothesis wins. We regroup that evening at our favorite tiny cafe walls, lined with mismatched art, tip jar with feminist slogan taped on. Spread notebooks and laptops like tarot cards. I transfer scribbles into cells, give each man a number instead of a name. Subject 3, minimal physical engagement, advice only. Subject 6, over-explaining, assumed authority. Subject 9, directional dismissal. Rows grow, the pattern looks cleaner on screen than in the world. Confirmation feels like an electric blanket around all of us. Zara says we need more natural spaces. Somewhere men are relaxed. Hannah suggests a hardware store. Priya suggests a community center. Zara wins with one word: bar. She says that is where the masks drop, where we will see real attitudes. None of us question this logic because it fits the story we want. We agree to go next weekend to our local place near campus. Plan is to sit, observe, maybe make notes. No drinks, all professionalism. Next weekend arrives. We break that last rule in under 20 minutes. Bar is dim, warm, music loud enough to blur edges but not lyrics. We squeeze into booth with view of most of the room. Order fries and sodas at first. Pretend the condensation is research. Bartender raises eyebrow. Asks if we want anything stronger. Zara says, maybe later, we are working. 15 minutes of watching men lean on counters, doing nothing but exist, turns out boring quickly. Zara orders a cider with shrug, calls it immersive methodology. One drink becomes two, because no one wants to be the stiff friend. The line between observer and participant dissolves like ice in the glasses. We gossip about professors, complain about unpaid internships, make fun of Zara's ex who called feminism his aesthetic. Not much research gets written down. I draw little axes in notebook anyway, vertical labeled courage, horizontal decency. Place imaginary dots where men should be, where they really are, where my ex definitely sits. Then everything happens at once. Zara gets up to use restroom, glass in hand, boots a bit wet from earlier rain as she walks back. Someone at bar swings arm to pay, clips her elbow. Her drink sloshes, foot lands on spilled ice. She pitches sideways, time goes syrup slow. Man at nearest stool reacts before thought can catch up. One hand closes around Zara's forearm, other lands on lower back, steady and firm. He stops her from meeting floor with teeth, straightens her, lets go all in 2 heartbeats. Bartender laughs, shouts, "Nice catch!" Couple of patrons clap like it is a show. Zara laughs too, cheeks flushed, says, "Wow, that would have been dramatic." Guy gives crooked half-smile, turns back to his drink like this was nothing. He looks tired, work shirt with some company logo, name tag I cannot read from distance. Zara comes back to booth. Still laughing, we joke about him being an action hero, make comments about, "Thank you, stranger." Then something shifts. Her laughter dries up, shoulders tighten, eyes unfocus. She stares down at the table, says quietly, "His hand was low." Hannah asks what she means. Zara says he touched right above her ass without asking, even if it was fast. Bar noise suddenly feels too loud, like everyone is listening even though no one is. Priya asks if he lingered, if he said something gross. Zara shakes head but repeats, "It felt wrong." Her eyes gloss over, not just from alcohol memories we cannot see pile up behind the sentence. She says she hates how men think they are entitled to any part of her body in the name of help. Voice wavers, then cracks, then comes back sharper. Priya's jaw sets, theory brain and advocate brain fusing. She says we should tell staff, ask them to look at camera footage. Hannah suggests maybe it was just reflex, that he just did not think. Zara snaps back. That is exactly the point. They do not have to think. We carry it for them. My chest hurts because I can see both frames at once, one where he saved her from falling, one where her skin remembers a touch she never asked for. Priya puts hand on Zara's shoulder, says we should not let it slide, says places need to know when women feel unsafe. Words like unsafe and space and boundary swirl with cider in my veins. Researcher part of me hears security camera and thinks data. We walk to bar together, 3 serious faces and 1 shaky one ask to speak to whoever is in charge. Bartender says manager has gone home, but he is shift lead listens as Zara explains she slipped and a man grabbed her, that his hand landed too low. He looks genuinely worried, not defensive. Says there are cameras, that they take this seriously. Promises they will review tape. Asks if she wants to leave her number. Zara writes it down with hand that still trembles a little. We go back to booth. The fries are cold, the mood colder. We leave soon after, no one saying many words. Night air feels heavy on skin. Next day, I cannot shake it from my head. The stumble, the catch, the hand. The way Zara's laughter turned into tears. Also cannot shake my own suspicion that the video might not match how she felt, and that I am not ready for what that means either way. Walk back to bar in daylight. Approach day manager like a small hurricane in a cardigan. Explain I am a graduate student doing a project on safety and nightlife. Ask if I can see last night's footage. He looks like a man with a full inbox, says he can put the relevant clip on a flash drive for my research. Hands it over like it is burning his fingers. That evening, Hannah and I sit at my laptop, curtains drawn like we are about to summon something. Open file, scrub through fast forward of strangers drinking, dancing, living, pause when I see Zara entering frame. We watch the whole scene from a cold, overhead angle, her elbow bumped, the skid, the guy's arm shooting out, hand flattening against her back for 1 second. We replay it again and again. There is no grab, no obvious groping, nothing lingering, just a quick, practical hold, as unromantic as a seatbelt. Hannah blows out breath she did not realize she held. That looks fine, she says. If anything, he saved her nose. I want to agree immediately, but I can still hear Zara saying, it felt wrong, in that small, furious voice. Tell myself cameras do not catch intention, that the gut has its own truth. Tell myself my job is to listen to women, not to argue them into silence with grainy footage. Later, Zara comes over with takeout, and guilt I show her the clip. Watch her face more than the screen. She crosses arms around herself as the moment plays. When it ends, she says, that is him. That is how it felt. I say, on video, it looks like he just steadied you. She snaps back that I did not feel where his fingers landed, that her body knows better than pixels. She says, if we do not say something, men like him will never examine their behavior. Says this is exactly why women stay quiet, because everyone wants proof in a format they can pause. Her words land somewhere between accusation and plea. I feel like a coward for even doubting and a liar for pretending I do not. We notice in the corner of the frame the company logo on his shirt, a local warehouse, his name partly visible on tag, blurry, but enough. Zara says I should contact them. She says workplaces need to know what their employees do. Off the clock says maybe training will stop him from grabbing someone else. I ask what exactly I would say. She answers instantly that he touched me without my consent, and it made me feel violated. Says that is enough. I think about how many trainings mention we take all reports seriously, about how quickly rumor can turn into policy. Tell myself I will just inform, not demand anything. Tell myself they can decide what to do. My hands will be clean. Next morning I sit at desk, cursor blinking in empty email type slower than I ever have in my life. Explain that I am a graduate student, that at one of their company's regular hangouts, a man in their uniform grabbed my friend without asking. Describe the date, time, basic details of the contact. Emphasize that she felt unsafe afterward. Add that the bar has footage, that I can provide context if needed, slip in a dishonest little line about not wanting to cause trouble, only to raise awareness. Read it 3 times, each pass making me feel heavier. Send it anyway because backing down feels like betrayal of every story we have studied. Spend the rest of the day half nauseous, half righteous. Human Resources writes back that afternoon thanking me for speaking up, saying they take all concerns seriously, saying they will investigate and have already reached out to the employee. My stomach drops even further. That part was faster than I expected. That night Zara texts, "Did you do it?" I send screenshot. She replies, "Good. Maybe he will think next time before touching anyone." I stare at our messages while replaying the clip where he did not seem to think at all. A few days pass. I try to bury myself in thesis writing. Add paragraph about men exaggerating risk of helping women as excuse for inaction. Write sentence about imagined consequences and feel self-satisfaction slide like a bead of sweat. Halfway through editing that section, my phone buzzes. Zara has forwarded me an email from the company, short and neat. They inform her that the employee has been suspended from duties while they conduct their review, that they are revisiting training to ensure a safe environment. She adds accountability with a smile emoji. I feel only a sinking, wordless dread. Picturing the man in plaid being pulled into an office, asked to account for a 2-second reflex. Picturing his face when they say words like report and concern. I do not answer Zara's message instead. I close laptop, walk outside, breathe cold air until my brain stops buzzing. Following week, we meet at our regular cafe again. Rain taps against windows, everyone in wet coats and midterm misery. We talk about data and coding and what chapters still need work, mostly in circles. Everyone a little distracted. Door opens, bell chimes, gust of cold air arrives with a man in a black apron. I look up automatically. Recognition hits in slow motion. It is the bartender from the night of the slip, same dark hair, same tired eyes, same calm voice that brought extra napkins without being asked. He spots us, pauses like he is debating, then walks over and rests damp hands on the back of a chair. "You 3 were at the bar last weekend, right?" he says, eyes flicking from person to person. "You asked about the cameras." My throat goes dry. I nod. Zara sits straighter, chin up. Priya folds hands carefully. Hannah looks like she wants to vanish into her scarf. He introduces himself as Tom, says he works shifts, both here and there. Brent does not care about his degree. Says he wanted to let us know something. His voice is quiet, but steady, like someone who has practiced this in his head. He tells us the man who caught Zara came in again 2 nights ago. Says he sat at the end of the bar with a glass of water he did not drink. Says he told Tom that his company had put him on leave while they figure out what to do. that he might lose his job if they decide he is a risk. Tom says the guy kept asking, "What did I actually do?" That he seemed more confused than angry. Zara crosses arms across her chest, like armor says, "He touched me without asking. I am not responsible for his choices." Tom nods slowly. "True," he says, "actions have consequences." Then he looks directly at me. Says he heard we are doing some kind of research on why men do not help women anymore. My stomach flips, because of course we yelled about it while scribbling in notebooks at his bar. Tom leans a little closer, voice still low. "Did it occur to you that this kind of thing might be part of the answer?" Priya stiffens. Says calmly that he is centering male feelings instead of women's safety. Says that is exactly the mindset we are studying. Tom shrugs, rain still clinging to his sleeves. Says he is not saying we should ignore when women feel harmed. Says he just watched that footage more times than he wanted, trying to see what was being reported. "All I saw," he says, "was a guy grabbing someone to stop her from falling, then letting go." Hannah looks at me out of the corner of her eye. She knows that is exactly what we saw, too. Zara's jaw tightens, says, "You did not feel it." He put his hand low. "That is not nothing." Tom nods again, not arguing that part. Says feelings matter, but so do facts. Says calling an employer before speaking with the person, or even waiting for the bar to handle it, sends a loud message. "The message is," he says, "if you reach out, even for a second, you might lose everything." Cafe hums around us, but our table is its own vacuum. I can feel my thesis title hovering above my head like a guilty halo. Tom says he sees more and more men freeze now when someone stumbles, says he has watched them look at the floor, at their drinks, anywhere but the person falling. They talk about stories like this, he says, and decide it is safer to do nothing. Zara says quietly that men have always chosen themselves. This is not new. Priya adds that women live with danger all the time, and no one protects them from that. Tom considers this. Nods once says he knows the world is not gentle to us either. Says he is just asking if we like the direction this is pushing things. Then he looks at me again, eyes tired, but not cruel. "You wanted to write about why men do not help," he says. "Now you have a case study, just not the one you planned." He straightens, says he needs to get back to the counter. Before he turns away, he adds softly, "I do not think you meant to wreck his life, but intention is not the only thing that matters." Then he walks off to steam milk for some other student who has no idea he just dropped a philosophy class on us for free. We sit in silence for a good minute. Hannah whispers that she feels sick. Priya says Tom is exaggerating, that we cannot let fear of male discomfort silence every report. Zara stares into her coffee, like it might start talking. Finally says, "This is bigger than one guy. This is about all the ones who do abuse it." I bite the inside of my cheek so hard it hurts. Because what she is saying is true in one way, and completely avoids what we did in another. That night I go home, open my thesis document, the title blinking judgment at the top. Read the line about men inventing fear of punishment to justify avoiding responsibility. Remember the face of a tired warehouse worker on leave because of my email. Scroll through pages of confident paragraphs about male fragility, hear Tom's voice saying, "They decide it is safer to look away." Think about the men on the street who crossed away from Hannah's car, about the guy who helped, but over-explained, trying not to touch too much, about every hesitation I labeled as selfish instead of cautious. Think about Zara's very real discomfort, and how we handed it to a company with my name under it, turning a 2-second reflex into a human resources event. Realize my thesis is no longer about a neat paradox, it is about a mess I helped create, because I wanted the world to match my hypothesis. Sit there staring at blinking cursor, not sure how to write any of that in academic language. Because now, when a man says, "I am scared to help," it could destroy me. I cannot just roll my eyes and say he is imagining things. I have the footage, the emails, and a very real man somewhere in this city, sitting at home, wondering if next time he should let a stranger hit the floor. And the worst part is, if I saw him hesitate now, part of me would write it down as data, without admitting to myself that I am one of the reasons why.